End of the day. It's time to let loose.
This is sponsored by the company?
Exactly. No rules, and it's on the company's dime.
Oh, what?
Hey, I'm just being my authentic self.
You're also being observed.
Amber, why is everybody looking at me?
I think they overheard you.
Do you think the boss heard?
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Hey!
Ooh. We are at episode 5, Holly.
No, episode 6. This is 6.
6. We're at episode 6.
6.
I mean, when you're having so much fun, right?
Yes.
Like this just flies by.
It does.
So welcome to the 6th episode of Sanity Pending Podcast. I am Amber and this is Holly. And we are going to talk today about work travel and all the different personalities, faces, and behaviors that really come out when you leave the traditional workplace.
Yes.
And are offsite.
Yeah.
What experience do you have traveling with work, Holly?
Amber, it might surprise you to know that I've never actually traveled for work. Okay, so here's the truth. I've traveled 2, maybe 3 times, but it was I went to a training. So I wasn't there for work-related things. I went there because I had to learn a new skill, learn a new software, learn whatever, so I could go back and do this new thing in whatever job it was that I had. But I've never actually had work travel. So you're going to have to...
Hilarious.
I know. What the heck? And how long have I been in sort of a traditional office setting and never, I really lucked out. Seriously. But I know, Amber, I've heard some of your stories.
I know, right? So I have 17 years that I've worked for the agencies, right? You know, that I came from. And so 17 years of corporate, essentially.
Yeah.
And the many different phases of different jobs and things that I've had, not every job had travel associated with it.
Yeah.
And then some jobs, all I did was travel. It was traveling 1-2 times a month at least. And so learning all about, how the etiquette, the rules, the all the things that come with a travel. There's a lot. So I'm actually really fascinated, but I did not know that you didn't have work travel experience. Well, this was going to be really fun for you then.
Curious then, because you've traveled so much. What did you learn about someone on a work trip that changed how you saw them when you got back?
Oh.
Too spicy?
Yeah. In some cases. Yeah. I'm not sure that I can answer that being on, unless I already had developed a really good working relationship with someone. Usually being on a travel event with them solidified our relationship. And we're just right? Yeah. And you get the I can see, how much we vibe, over camera or remote work, right? Because we know that I did a lot of remote work. And so being able to be in the room with somebody that you are already working well with, it just solidifies that really grounding of the relationship. And then you're oh my goodness, and it's you're just connecting with friends. Yeah. But then you have the alternative, right? Where you see sides of people that you're ooh, I can't unsee that. Or I can't put that back into the box that I wish that I could keep, just only knowing this much about my coworkers. So I don't think I can give you specifics. I'm just going to be clear about that.
Yeah.
How
understandable. Yeah.
What makes work travel and being away from a work site change people? I know. In a way that they don't have guardrails and they don't have the self-discipline to rein themselves in because it's for me in particular, it's work all day. It's work all day. No matter whether we're at dinner, and we're not officially on the clock, it's work all day. These are still work people. This is still a work environment. It's work all day. And I noticed that some people have a switch. And once you are finished with the work of the day and you're in the evening hours, that's no longer work time. And that's a place that I couldn't follow. Because that is, it doesn't mean I didn't have fun. It doesn't mean that I, wasn't personable, right, or told stories, but also not the place to.
No. I know it's hard for me to because I would never, right? Like, no way. But I will say too, again, not having traveled very much, just like a couple of times for trainings and things like that. One of the reasons why I always hated travel is because I don't have my routine when I'm traveling. So I'm in an unfamiliar bed. I don't have my blankets. I can't go to bed at the time that I would normally want to go to time, especially if you're in a different time zone and stuff. You've got this weird food. So it feels like you have a lack of control. And I wonder if maybe that is also something that kind of people, they don't have their routines. They don't have their structure. So maybe that impacts it. Do you know what I mean? And just in your case, the constant togetherness with people too. It's that's kind of grate on your nerves after a while,
The inescapability.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, a routine usually comes with an end to the workday, which means an end to you needing to think about, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you're on travel and sometimes you just want to be what looks like antisocial. And there is this need to be let's plan dinners and and it's how about we plan nothing?
Right. Yeah.
We did the planning during the day. Can we not plan anything? Just because I'm on travel and I'm in maybe a city that I've never been in, I don't necessarily always feel compelled that I need to become a tourist and add in a tourist element to also the work element, right? But I know that I'm maybe singular in that, right? And just being someone who has a very strong need to recharge in an alone capacity.
Yes.
Exerting that much energy to be on all day and then into the evening. I really sometimes just want to go and curl up with a book. I sometimes don't really care that there's a really nice place to go have dinner. Yeah. I will go and enjoy myself, right? I'm not going to be a sourpuss, right? And I'll go and I'll eat the cool meal, but then I want to go to bed. I want to keep my bedtime routine.
Yeah. Well, because we talked about it last time, your social battery is drained. You know what I mean? And it's I want to go take a nap. And I don't know, again, I don't have a ton of experience with this, but a lot of the things that you and I have talked about, it's almost forced socialization, kind of if you're in an office, very similar to that, only you cannot escape because you guys are sharing a taxi, you're sharing an Uber, whatever it might be, sharing the same hotel, probably on the same floor. And in some cases, I know certain companies and stuff require you to share a room with a coworker. It's save money and stuff. So it's you're fatigued. So you just kind of your inhibitions are lowered and you're, I don't know, for me, I would get very snappy. I just too crabby for that.
That has happened. I do have that experience of being, especially at the end of it, it's just everyone's sick. Everyone's sick and tired of seeing each other. Yes. And so that definitely happens for certain. And you're just, honestly, the fatigue is really something because not only are you doing the work in a room, heads down, trying to, problem solve or strategize, whatever it is that you're there to be on travel for. And then the rest of what you would be doing is still happening. So the rest of your work doesn't stop just because you set aside time to go to this work travel event. So it's almost like it's double duty because you still have the other stuff. So sometimes when I'd go back to my room and not go and socialize afterwards, it was because I still had a day's worth of work that still needed to happen.
You're not handing that off when you go on travel. Yeah.
No,
that's so true.
So I have to actually go back to my room and work, and I don't actually have the freedom to go and socialize. So the fatigue is real in that sense, and also just the social battery fatigue that you mentioned. And there's just a lot of inhibition is the word, right? Like inhibitions are impacted because you don't have those routines and structure.
Yeah, for sure. And like the conflict avoidance is harder, you know, in certain cases because, like if you see somebody's true colors and things like that, it gets a lot harder to, I guess, tactfully handle those situations.
Right? Yes, it can get heated. It can get heated. I have certainly been in situations and scenarios where tears and yelling and
Thanks.
I might have experienced it all.
Yeah.
It seems like I do. I have a lot of experience.
Do you have any like memorable moments that you want to share? Things that you're like, oh, I'll never do that again, or I'll never like, you know, anything like that?
I don't know about that, but I do have a couple things that I would say that I could tell that I was growing up, so to speak, because I was so excited about being on travel. Like I thought that being on travel in this capacity made me more professional. Like I was on official travel,
precious.
like in an airport, right? Like look at me, I'm on official travel, right? Like I'm going around, and I was so excited for it.
So
and
sweet. You're so innocent,
right? And then I came to a point where I was like, I don't want to leave. Like, I don't want to leave my home. I don't want to go on travel. Please don't make me travel. Like, I don't want to go. And then it's like, I would be dragged to places it felt like because of this forced, like, we need to force see each other. And I'm like, I don't need to. So I that made me feel like I was growing up was just this idea that this is what I thought that I wanted a job that I was jet setting around. Is never in a jet. So that term, right? You know, but you're
always in economy.
Economy in the very back with the toilets. Like that. Like there's, it's not great.
It's not glamorous.
It's not glamorous at all. But I had this idea that being on travel was glamorous. And so, and then one of the things that I still carry with me today was that when I started drinking coffee, later, like maybe early 30s, right?
What?
Is when I actually started. Yeah, I didn't like it. I was a tea girl for the longest time.
Wow, I did not know that. Oh my gosh.
And I know I am a coffee fiend now, right? But I drink my coffee black. So I learned how to drink my coffee black because I was heavy into like the creamer. So anytime that I would go on travel, when I was traveling a lot, that I could never get my coffee to taste the way that I wanted to because I wasn't going to carry around this special creamer that I really liked, you know? And so I wasn't going to buy a big jug of it, you know, and then, you know, cart it around with me everywhere.
No.
And so I taught myself and trained, right, into drinking black coffee because you could always get black coffee. And so now I no longer want to be reliant upon having a special type of coffee that I need in order for that comfort to kick in with what coffee means to me. And now like I can't do the flavors, and I can't, like, it's so like
I've never been able to. But that kind of, I guess it like helped you, like I'm establishing this routine so I can somewhat keep this with me when I go somewhere and I'm in a new place. So I could see that. That seems actually really smart, Amber.
Well, it was
not that I'm surprised. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm not surprised. Like, you're like one of the smartest people I know. I didn't mean it in that way. So
no. I can't take full credit for it. I mean, like, I'm telling you from like this, but I was emulating.
That was like
somebody
a learned
that
thing.
Was a learned thing that I noticed, and I would be like, oh man, the coffee. Like, I would make a comment about how like this just doesn't taste like what I have at home, and then somebody had mentioned, oh, well, that's if you want that. If you want that to be your goal, right? Here's what you've got to do. You've got to actually learn how to drink it black. And then I was like, at first I was like, oh, that's vile, right? Like, I can't even imagine without, you know, my creamer in it. And then now I can't even think of it with creamer any longer because I'm like, ooh, I actually really like the way that coffee tastes. And I want the coffee in my Lord of the Rings Hobbit mug.
I love that. I love that so much. Oh my God.
Although somebody told me it looks like a body part, and now I can't.
What? Does not. Oh, okay. All right. Now that you say it, I could totally see it was the Hobbit door. What the heck?
This is a perfect analogy right there. Metaphor for this whole conversation.
Yes.
Because Now you can't unsee it.
Now you can't unsee
That's
it.
what happens on work travel. Somebody says something, somebody does something, and then you now have a change.
So I guess like we've been talking a lot about the things that are the unpleasantness of work travel and things. Have you, like, from your perspective, since you've traveled way more than me, I mean, are there benefits? Like, are there any good things that came out of work travel for you that you're like, hey, I'm really glad I did these things?
Yeah, I think that honestly, a lot of the networking, the stuff that they, kind of advertise as being part, like I got to meet a lot of really great people that by having met them in person and having that opportunity to share a little bit about who you are that's outside of work really afforded an opportunity for that relationship building. So that was a really good positive. So even though I'm talking about like wanting to escape people by the end of the day, like I did leverage and have, kind of some really good experiences. I learned how to pack really well, like being a military kid and then being in the military myself. I already had some skills when it came to packing, but I'm still known for being able to fit everything in a carry-on that I need for an entire week.
That's an amazing skill. Yeah.
So I and I do that so that way I didn't have to check a bag and potentially run the risk of losing luggage when I really needed it. And so I came up with wardrobes and things that I could stack and be able to, right? So I have a really good skill when it comes to packing. But yeah, there was definitely perks and just this, sometimes the trigger in your brain on how you think creatively around problem solving, being out of your comfortable environment would sometimes also trigger a new way of thinking because I was in a new environment. So being somebody who's very connected to the routines that I have, a little not quite Rain Man, but it does feel that way, right? Walking her at 4. And so I certainly have my like schedule that I like to adhere to.
Yes.
And being out of that will sometimes get me to think a little differently and have a lot more exposure. Diversity is a really good word around it, right? Like I have a better diversity of incorporating different thoughts when I'm in new environments. So I would say that there was a lot of positives associated with it.
Yeah.
But those are personal and not necessarily like meaning personal that impacted me or where I see the positives in it. Not necessarily, I didn't really talk about what it was like to be in the room, kind of with others. It is harder to stifle a yawn.
Yeah.
When you're tired.
One thing, because I'll tell you, when I have to fake smile for a long period of time, I do tend to yawn a lot. It's very hard. You know what I mean? And it's so, because again, it's very similar to the last conversation that we had about RTO being in the office versus remote work and things. It's a lot of similarities to that of like needing to wear your mask. And then some people get comfortable taking that mask off. Because I am convinced that a lot of people know, like they have a work mask that they put on when they show up to the office or even get online if they're working from home. And I do think I could see how work travel, when it's like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock, like, they think it's over, but like you're still with people, you're still stuck with those same people, yet they're taking off their mask, they're, showing their true colors, whatever it might be. But I was thinking as far as like the benefits go, because I've seen it from like, I was traveling just for like trainings and things like that. So, I did see I had a lot of benefits from it because there was skill building in there, right? And communication, you're talking with people and learning new things. And I don't know, I want to be like adaptability, but that sounds forced. It sounds like, oh no, you should travel for these reasons. So no, I don't want to convince anybody to like go on work travel or anything like that.
Right.
But I do think that there are some benefits. And I do like the new perspective thing because especially in your case where you are outside of work and things like that, and you're in close quarters with people, I do think maybe sometimes it can help you see the bigger picture of kind of like where your work fits in, kind of the importance of your work too. If you're just sort of one of those people that like you're in the zone all day long, like you're doing a particular task, you may not get a chance to kind of see those things.
Story time. All right. Are we ready for this? Okay. So this story is not listener submitted. So how we collected this story this time was we actually went to HR training. So were there massively impactful training that maybe would have made the news or made training material, right, for like what not to do on travel. So this is a this is a true story, and it is. I'm not going to share any of names, firms, even though it is part of training. That's just not what we do here. Just letting you know that this story is used for training purposes.
I love that.
Okay, so a few years ago, employees from a large company attended a firm-sponsored corporate retreat. And by day, it looked like any other offsite. Meetings, strategy sessions, team building, language about connection and culture. By night, things shifted. And at social events tied to the retreat, several employees drank heavily. And some made inappropriate comments. Others crossed lines they would never cross in the office. And it wasn't criminal behavior, and there were no arrests, but nothing headline grabbing in the moment, right? Just people acting like the rules had loosened because the walls were gone. And what many of them believed was that the retreat was informal, social, off the clock. And what leadership believed was that this was still a work event, still a professional environment, still a place where judgment mattered. And after the retreat, the company investigated the behavior, and multiple employees were terminated, including senior staff. And it was publicly stated that the company standards apply at all work-related events, including retreats and social gatherings. And for the employees involved, the shock wasn't just the outcome. It was the realization that what felt like freedom was actually visibility. And the moment structure disappeared, leadership saw something they couldn't unsee.
Yikes. I feel like I've heard a lot of stories that are very similar to this, where investigations or, they look into certain matters because certain things get reported and people get, they lose their jobs over it. I feel like I've heard this before. And I still, every time I hear it, I'm still shocked, Amber. I'm still shocked by this, that this still happens.
This divide that was talked about in the story, right, where there is a clear line between this is what is expected versus I didn't think that this was an expectation, right? That I feel like that line is where that space for disaster can happen.
For sure.
If this were applied to, say, a political member, like they are on the clock by being in that role all the time. And that, or even like a celebrity, they are on the clock all the time. They have paparazzi that follow them around. So there's already this pervasive idea that in some professions, some positions, you can't escape what the structure is around that role or position. And it doesn't matter where you are always seen in that position. So people are surprised by celebrities who make personal decisions because that's against what they think that this character that they fell in love with would do or outside of. And I feel like that happens here. I can't think of a scenario or experience where it's clearly drawn that this is work and this is play. I feel like that's a construct that we create in our own personal lives, but it's never a construct that's supported outside of our own doing. Does that make sense?
It does. And I really like that, using a politician or a celebrity, because you're right. They are used to always having eyes on them and always being judged. And, knowing that those judgments, that's going to impact future opportunities, future whatever, those kinds of things. So yeah, I guess you sort of learn to always, I brought this up earlier, but I don't think that it's that travel changes people, but it, I said before, I think it reduces their ability to maintain that mask, maintain that work mask. Celebrities and other people, they're trained to do that. A lot of times learn the hard way that they always have to do that, right? They have to maintain their character, maintain whatever. I thought I had a place where I was going with this conversation, this thought, and then it just sort of fizzled out. So I thought I had something, but I'll turn it over to you.
And I'm not saying this because it's a known, but it's more of a question and a curiosity. But I am So, and I can only think of it through the lens of what I experience and I know, right?
Yeah.
So like, because I am very comfortable with structure and set a lot of structure around for myself. And
yes.
I have always lived a very independent life where I can make those decisions and choices for myself. And I can kind of essentially feel and do what I want in my personal life.
Yeah.
I am curious if the people who don't have that and maybe are feeling stifled at home, that work is the only place that they feel that they can be somebody different, because they do put on a mask for work. And if they're maybe not in a situation where they are in a relationship or a personal environment where they feel like they have a lot of those freedoms that I've just expressed that I know that I have, that it does make me curious if there's something else that's going on, that work travel, it coupled, like, pulls them out of not only their work environment, but pulls them out of their home environment.
Interesting.
And if they have a lot of responsibilities, that it's just responsibility after responsibility, that maybe work travel is the only time that they get to maybe say, like, get away from kids or get away from family, and then really feel like they want to live that up. And it does make me wonder if that's also at play.
Could be. Yeah. I hadn't really thought of that. I do think too, so when you say that, it makes me think too of people who just like, you know, blur the lines, like the boundary between like your personal life and your work life, right? Because like I have to have them completely separate. I don't do this whole, work is my family. No, I'm not that person. I don't like that. And I don't like that phrase. So I have a very clear boundary of like, your work people. Like, this is work. This is my family. Yes, I have some, like a handful of people that I will see outside of work. Very small handful. But like, I have a very, like, I have a boundary that is not blurred at all. Like, I know exactly, like, when I'm around people at work, like, I have that work mask on all the time. So it almost makes me wonder if it's like people just, they don't have their boundaries set up, or they don't have a robust social life or a social life outside of work that they're happy with, sort of like, kind of, that's what I kind of got from what you were saying. So I could see that, something I hadn't really considered, because I do keep them very, very separate.
Also, as an aside, when you said you have a tiny handful, right? Like a small, very small.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of the little tiny hands, like that. And I was like, help me understand when you say a small hand, like tiny handful, or tiny, like,
tiny,
you know,
hands.
tiny, like the little hands on sticks, right? Like and then when I think of like videos with hands, I think of the rusty spoons.
What's that? What is that? It scared me a little. What is that? No. Do I have to Google it right now? What is this?
Rusty spoons.
I'm very terrified right now. What are you doing?
You should be. The video is terrifying. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't know rusty spoons.
You're scaring me.
Okay. Yes.
All
please
right.
look it up.
Intermission. We got to Google
Intermission.
This. Oh my God. Oh God. This was awful.
And by awful, you mean amazing.
Amazingly awful.
Amazing. Says the girl who plays horror games. I just gave you horror gold and a rusty spoon.
So I'm going to have nightmares after that. I'm going to have massive nightmares. Oh, God. Thanks a lot, Amber.
Right. So that was quite a detour that we took from tiny hands to rusty spoons.
Worth it.
I do know somebody who would bring their own silverware and bring their own things, and we're very,
like for
very
health
much
reasons or
germaphobe.
Okay.
And right, and so would like visually inspect their room before they would bring Lysol cans with them and completely disinfect. I know some people who'd bring their own sheets because they didn't trust, right? Like what?
Interesting. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've heard of people with like severe allergies having to bring their own food and stuff on travel, like severe allergies. So, oh God, I certainly feel for people who, have to do all of that. Yeah.
Which is another reason why work travel could be really hard. Outside of that, again, it's that routine. It's that that routine brings safety and comfort, and when you take people out of that, they're not going to necessarily be the best version of themselves.
No.
And it's really hard to be the best version of yourself when you don't have anything around you that is safe or supportive. having a hard time with an example that supports those that were in the story of claiming that this is social time.
Is it
which
corporate,
then
do you think?
implies
Like a corporate environment that does that?
I don't know, or the fact that they paid for you to be there. I wonder if it has to do with money.
Maybe.
Time. I don't know. I don't have a very good corporate mindset when it comes to that. I have the really just strong personal, like, I just wouldn't behave any different than how
I can't understand why you think that would be acceptable. Like, sorry, I cannot. I can't even envision, like, you know, some thought that would have gone through my head that's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. What?
Right.
Never.
Right. Where was the voice in your head that was like, this is a great idea, right? Or where was the voice in your head that told you that this was not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Like, and instead you have the voice, the little devil angel, you have the little devil that's going, this is going to be great. Yeah. I think this is a fantastic idea to do this behavior because you're not going to get caught. Like, I don't know, like, where it doesn't pass that logic test for me.
Yeah. Well, Amber, quick aside, since you said that like voice in your head, did you know that there are people that don't have voices in their head?
What? I did learn that.
Like, I learned that not too long ago, and I'm like, that's insane. Like, do you have the voice in your head? Like, I can't, like, I don't think I could function without my friend up here.
Constant chatter.
I need her to tell me all the time, like, that's who I talk to all day long.
Constant chatter. Yes. I wonder if those folks don't have the voice.
Do you think it's those people? Do you think it's the people without the voices?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. And how many people out there really don't have a voice? If you're watching, do you have a voice in your head?
Do you have a voice? Yeah.
I always have a voice. Sometimes I have to, like, get out of here. I'm going to bed. Like, be quiet already.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'm like, and then, so if you don't have a voice,
so, like, how do you work through something, right? How do you work through in an instance like this where you're like, I will or will not do something? Like, how do you have that discussion about, like, how do you make the decision without having a discussion first? Maybe I am kind of curious. Mm-hmm. Hold on. This is a quick pause. Because I don't know if you've prepared anything for this. But for someone who maybe did do something that they're like, oh man, I made a mistake. I did something I shouldn't have done. You know, I behaved in a way that I wouldn't normally behave, but I regret it. Like, what would be a reframe for them to maybe regain, like, their lost reputation, something? How could they work through something like that? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. So I think that's wonderful. And I do have a thought around, like, kind of based off of our story about a really good reflection question that will meet your inquiry on if somebody has regret or not. It's like this question can be applied to both scenarios of whether you have regret. And sometimes regret is because you dodged the bullet, meaning you could have gotten in trouble and you didn't. And so then you then have regret about, like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. Like, I almost got in trouble. Yeah. And then you might have regret because you did get in trouble. And then sometimes you just have regret when nothing happened and you're just like, right? Like, I'm feeling, so regret, like, has a lot of different, like, layers and things. But the question that I would pose for any scenario would be that if no one stopped you in the moment, right? Would you still stand by the version of yourself that you showed?
That's a really good question.
What this question could help you explore is a lot of what we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, where is that structural line for you?
Yes.
And there may not be one. And you may think of this question as, I don't have an answer because, I'm going to absolutely stand by who I was because, like, in our skit at the beginning, right?
This is my authentic self.
This is my authentic self. And so if they feel like they're being there, like, this was the only time that I felt like I was truly myself. And it's like, wow, what a mask, right? That you have at work. And these questions are not meant for you to judge yourself. Like, that's not an opening for judgment. That's an opening to explore who you are. And it's not a question that you need to share with anybody else, but your answer is, it's a question for you in terms of, like, what would it take if there are no rules for you to enforce rules for yourself? Like, where are those lines? Or who are you when no one's enforcing rules? Like, do you require rules? to exist or not, or not even like rules. Let's just call it structure, right? So what structure helps align who you are? Like there's so many different ways that this question can unfold for every person and how they kind of think through.
There's like not an easy, tidy with a bow. Here's like a great reflection question. And here's how you do like here's everything you need to do this exercise on your own. It feels like there's no tidy way to present that to somebody because it's going to be so different, so unique to each individual.
Exactly. And that's what I kind of love the most about coaching and being curious and inquisitive, right? Is because you can ask the same questions and like on a structural, like aligned sense, like a outline sense, right? Like these are the major themes that we might want to cover in terms of questions. But then each of the follow-up and where you might go, I never prepare an outline like ahead of time, in any type of coaching relationship. And I always go where the client wants to go, right? But it is so fun to watch where you can go as a result of whenever you open up this, I think of fortune cookies, right? Like whenever we crack open this fortune cookie and you've provided this answer, right? What might the next fortune cookie hold, right? And in terms of what that question, because it is very personal, and that's how coaching can stay personalized for individuals because it's 100% based off of what they're bringing and what their responses are. And so that's where I felt that this question was so powerful because it really kind of gets to how somebody might see themselves. It gives them a way to step outside of the memory of the moment. And instead of passing a judgment upon what they would have wished would happen, which might come from the regret perspective, they might instead be able to just look at themselves and then not have the feelings, but it's like if you could watch yourself, then what would you want to have happened, or what would you want to feel at the end, or what would you have wanted, again, just from a curiosity standpoint and thinking through, like, who do you want to be?
Right.
That's the larger question. Like, who do you want to be? And if it's not who you are right now, well, that's a start. And that's what I love about us working through these like really tough scenarios in workplaces is what types of ways can we be inquisitive about it after we've had the feeling dump. Right? Like, oh,
exactly.
I just need to say this, right?
Now here's, next steps. I agree.
Next step. Here's what we can work with, right? And so that's like, I love that we, like shout out to us, but I love that we do this.
I do too.
And it gives us like, I kind of feel like a little bit of a scientist in the sense of like, here's what my hypothesis was, enter feelings, right? Of like how I felt about it from experience, from whatever, right? But what are other ways and what's other information that I'm open to hearing, seeing, exploring, right? That is going to bring me to the expansion of how I feel about this topic.
I would love to have a discussion with other people on this in our subreddit because I feel like there's so many perspectives on this. I feel like there are people, their experiences, again, because I've only traveled a handful of times, 2 times, not even a handful, like twice for trade, like, 10 hands here. 10 hands. And I would love to know, like, if that's the case for people, if it's just like, the freedom, no matter who it's with. I would love to know more. Here's some other perspectives on this for sure. So come over to the subreddit with us. We would love to chat more about this topic for sure. What other topics do we have planned, Amber? We should share some of those in case people have stories that they want to share.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about personality quirks in a future one.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Right. And when we're talking personality quirks, we're talking like it all, like people who, right, everything, like this whole introvert versus extrovert, the what
generational differences, all the things. Yeah.
Your Myers-Briggs, like whatever, like personality that you align with, right?
Marvel
like whatever,
versus DC, everything.
Whatever, right? Whatever BuzzFeed princess you are, like whatever things, right, that help define what you feel are those personality quirks that people bring to work, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to explore personality quirks. If you've got a story or stuff you want to share with us, related to that, I know we're going to be talking about that. We've got AI in the workplace.
Work reputations.
Reputations. We were just talking about it. We were just talking about.
I couldn't think of it either. Yeah, work reputations
and kind of those, and that's really related to those masks that we wear. So if this has sparked for you, where you hear the word, mask at work, you got a story, let us know.
Yeah, you can send it. We've got links in the description. There's links in our channel. We have a form all set up. Amber got it all set up for us, so you can send us your stories, and it's totally anonymous. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed because we post weekly episodes every Wednesday, so you'll get something new from us all the time. We do have some shorts coming out. I'm really excited for Amber's got a new short series going. And actually, you know what? It's going to be out by the time this episode comes out, so it's like old news at this point, but I'm excited for everybody to see that. And give us some feedback in the comments. You can leave us a comment if you've got other topics and other ideas and things that you'd like to see us cover on the show.
Like 6 episodes in, are you liking what we're doing? You want more of this? You have recommendations for what you'd like to see more of from us? We're out here having fun. Yeah. And so our feelings are not going to be hurt, right? But if you find this useful and us having our fun time, let us know.
Oh, and I'm closing
Tie us up with a bow.
I don't know why I'm sitting here come on, Amber. It's my turn.
I know.
Right. Anyway, and you're like, come on, Holly.
You want to do this thing, right?
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us here on Sanity Pending Podcast. I'm Holly. This is Amber. And this is your reminder that if you haven't throat punched somebody this week, it's been a good week. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Bye.
Bye.